Pirate Festival,
I want to go.
Travis Hunter and Lamar Jackson,
I don't know those people.
Marina, but no beach.
What do you mean no beach?
What do all of these things have in common?
I don't know. Tell me, Steve.
They're all associated with Boynton Beach. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 1. We have a true treat of Attorneys Are Human Too. I'm Steve Wallace.
And I'm Celena Muzic.
We have an amazing guest today. A close personal friend of mine, the new mayor of Boynton Beach, Florida, and broker of Core Realty Company, my good friend, Mayor Rebecca Shelton.
And you have to add very cool.
Well, that goes without saying, and you'll all learn about that shortly.
Thank you for having me today.
So something completely fascinating because, as you know, in addition to being a human attorney, in addition to being a basketball coach, I'm a political junkie, a political nerd. So my nerd Super Bowl happened in March because my good friend, our guest today, Mayor Rebecca Shelton, won with over 50% of the vote. And more importantly, which is completely fascinating being the political nerd that I am, she won this as an NPA. Could you elaborate a little bit of what an NPA is?
Yeah, and I saw it was a landslide.
Yes,
I
it was.
looked
It was a four-way race.
Whoa.
A four-way race, won over 50% of the vote, which eliminated a runoff as an NPA. Please tell us, Mayor.
So I have been a registered NPA for, my guess is maybe 15 to 16 years now. No party affiliation. So a lot of times when you say NPA, people say, what is that? So it's really an independent, but in Florida, they call it NPA. I did work in partisan politics at a very young age and decided that I would get out of that because NPA to me is really where things matter on a local level. All these races are no party affiliation. And so it was a different route to go into this campaign being an NPA because when I originally filed in September, both parties, leaders from both parties said to me, you're probably not going to win. You're an NPA. And that was the talk on the street.
Did they want you to pick a side?
I was approached a few times from both sides. I was offered money from a specific party that I declined.
Oh, wow.
Because the commitment was turning into that party. And I really do believe that when it comes to local politics, being a no party affiliation candidate allows me to represent all the constituents because no matter what you're registered, you're dealing with traffic, you're dealing with trash, you're dealing with wanting more law enforcement. So when you start making these things partisan, I think you start to devalue the people that really want to serve. And I didn't understand NPA until I worked for so many judicial candidates. And then I really started seeing how allowing partisan politics in judicial really can tarnish the bench. Because you're supposed to implement the law, not interpret it. And I think that's the same when it comes to local politics, too.
Yeah, it sounds like you're truly representing the people and helping get, the needs met without any division.
Right.
So
we can change the quality of life issues. So do I get emails every day almost about abortion or things that I just can't change as a mayor and the commission cannot. So I really encourage people when you want to start talking to your local officials about that on the municipal level, try to come to them with quality of life issues that are going to make things better for you and the constituents around you instead of making it so partisan.
So during the campaign, which was highly successful, what did you learn about the political process? What was obviously your biggest success was winning without a runoff. What challenges did you also experience during that campaign?
I know this sounds crazy, but I found that my campaign was not as stressful as the campaigns that I have run for other people. And I did not expect that. So I have run dozens and dozens of nonpartisan judicial races in this county for over 20 years. And on election day or the day before, I am very stressed. And on my own election, I think I assumed I was going to a runoff. So I really floated through that election day enjoying it, which I never had experienced that before. Is it challenging running a brokerage and being a candidate? Yes. And the most challenging thing was being an NPA because I had to explain what I just explained to you guys, that doesn't make me someone that's not qualified to run just because I don't belong in a party.
I mean, as it goes to a local level, Republicans have trash, Democrats have trash, Republicans have crime, Democrats have crime. It really shouldn't matter. And the fact is that, especially, and a very famous politician said, politics is local. And it really shouldn't matter party lines, especially because, running a city is extremely challenging.
Yes, especially one like Boynton.
Correct. And I always tell people too, like, your local government is what's really affecting you and your home and everything. So I think people need to really step up and, like I said, send you emails and whatever their concerns about, especially quality of life and things like that, because it just makes all the difference. Local government is your government.
And when we go back to the judicial stuff, which Steve is very familiar with, that the judge races are on the bottom of a ballot, and the ballot could be 3 pages long. And the fall off of people voting, it just gets lower and lower as you go on to the ballot. They're just ignoring it. So I always tell people in judicial races, because they say, I don't care who my judge is. And I say, well, you have a better chance of being in front of a judge than you do meeting your congressman.
Or the president.
You better care who's your judge, because if you get charged with a crime, they're the ones that are going to sentence you to jail or not.
Correct.
Or going through a divorce, custody, life and death.
I think people get very wrapped up in the presidential. That they don't understand, like, the president is not directly
doesn't affect your day-to-day life, but Mayor Shelton does affect your day-to-day life.
And it's strategic. So if it's a presidential coming up, years ago, if it would have been a Democrat president that was on the move, that judicial candidate, they're not allowed to say what they're registered, but the Democrats would pick up on that wave and they would work for him.
Right, because it usually goes down ballot.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that they're becoming more political, and I hate seeing that.
Yeah. So could you outline 2 or 3 of the priorities that you have as mayor of Boynton?
Yes. So one of the reasons that I did file was because I live in East Boynton, and I have for 20 years. The East and the West are completely different cities in a lot of ways. You have the HOAs and the more of the senior community.
I used to be the emperor of West Boynton, so I know that well.
Yes, you did. But see, my West Boynton is different from that.
Right. I was the emperor of West Boynton, which is not even part of Boynton.
Yeah. So my West Boynton only goes to Lawrence, roughly military. So when you go out there, you have more of the senior community, the gated, the HOAs. And in the East, we have been waiting for a viable, walkable, thriving downtown. We do not have a good school in the East, so you see a lot of the Sink and the Dink community people that have moved in since 2025. They don't expect a good school. They're not having kids, but they do want to have a place that they can walk to.
What does Sink and Dink mean?
Single income, no kids, dual income, no kids.
Got it. Okay.
So that's a trend in real estate.
Got it.
That's a very big thing right now. So
I'm a C2K is what I am.
yes. I'm a dog mom, so I don't know where we add that in, but so it's a different world in the East and the West. You can drive in the East and see many code enforcement issues, not enough cops, in my opinion. So these were the reasons that I did run as quality of life issues. One was cleaning it up, having more code enforcement, building out a thriving downtown that we don't even have office space down there. So I'd like to see that happen so people can go to work there. And obviously we know the mall is going to be a big challenge. I think the thing that I've already been able to change in a lot of ways, even in a month, is getting the constituent input about the things that are coming before they're arriving. And before that, it's just the next day, okay, we're voting on 8 stories.
It was like the biggest secret around,
Yeah. So even in my recent meetings, I've had to request to table things because I feel we didn't have enough constituent input. So that is one of the reasons that I did file, is because I think there were a lot of surprises, and no one wants to live in the surprises.
Transparency in government is one of the biggest challenges, and especially on a local level, what you guys vote on has a direct impact on the citizens, and oftentimes there's not enough input. So I really commend you on that, because that's very important.
Yeah, and even sometimes we don't have the control that people think. So it would be nice to have a mayor and a commission that also educates the constituent base on, we're not allowed to do this, like the Live Local Act. We're dealing with resistance from some communities in the East that are there's a Live Local project is going to be built next to them.
And there's nothing you can do about it, because one of the other things which is interesting, and I'm not, if you want to talk about this, you can, but there's a big push in Tallahassee to take a lot of power away from the local government and centralize it in Tallahassee. And have you had an experience on that? It's been a short time since you've been on the dais.
I don't know why they would do that, because again, Tallahassee's not here.
But Tallahassee, because it's a whole thing of Tallahassee wants to control everything versus folks like Mayor Shelton who...
Yeah, my opinion is that's a huge mistake.
Right. I mean, our hands are tied in the Live Local Act, which is very, very frustrating. And we do have some big projects coming down, but some of the big projects that were approved before I was in office, the site planning was approved, and these developers, the market has changed. They have to come back and they're asking for TIF money. And again, I think constituents think that now we can go back and say, well, you can't build that high.
What is TIF money?
Units. Tax increment funding.
Oh, gotcha. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this moment, it's do we help these developers or do we continue to look at blighted lots? There is no going back and saying, okay, let's say build 4 stories. It's never going to be economically viable to build 4 stories when you buy a property downtown for $45 million.
Yeah, no.
And especially when the market's changed. So the constituents should feel that they can come to us and be educated. But if they still want to resist, a lot of times our hands are going to be tied.
Yeah, especially on the Live Local Act projects. Interesting. Okay, and so what have you learned so far? It's been a short period of time, but what is there something that, you know, when you were running for office, you said, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do, or I think this is what entails being mayor. Is there anything that surprised you so far?
Actually, no. Again,
That's
I
great.
think it's from running so many municipal races. And you got to think I got in politics at 23. So it's been over, I'll be 50 in June. And I am not surprised at anything. It's actually going very smooth. I've had a great welcome from the city. The staff is incredible.
The staff loves you. I know that's what word on the street is there. That it is a breath of fresh air. Mayor Shelton's in town and there's no cleaning house. You've been... Yeah. And your deputy mayor is pretty amazing too.
Presley Elizabeth is the deputy mayor. She is my Min Pin Chihuahua, who's a local celebrity. Just you know, she now has her own Instagram page.
She
Deputy
does.
Mayor Presley, along with her Presley Knows Best and all her other social media avenues. I have to maintain.
And we need to follow. I'm a follower.
Yeah, I'm going to follow.
Right.
I'm definitely going to follow. So what made you get into politics at such a young age?
It really wasn't a choice. It was, I think, a divine intervention. When you're 23 years old and you move to South Florida from Ohio, you're exposed to a lot of things that you were never exposed to. I was selling insurance, and I knew somebody said there's this firm in D.C. that's hiring, and I thought, I'm never going to get this job. They were doing a Florida chapter, and I interviewed, and I got the job. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. So I worked for that. They said they were a non-partisan organization, but they were really Republican at the end of the day. But you don't know that till you're in it.
Right.
I worked there for 2 years and worked on a lot of advocacy issues and some local campaigns. And then the reason I left the firm was because when I was 25, a well-known name, Jeff Pearlman, who was, I think, one of the best mayors of Delray ever had, he reached out to me and said, I'm going to run for city council and I'd like you to run my race. And so I had gone back to the firm and said, this person wants me to run the race. And they said, no, you can't. He's a Democrat. And so I resigned. And that's when I just jumped out on my own and I ran those 3 races.
Hence nonpartisan. She's been on both sides and knows the benefits and the drawbacks of both.
Yes. So I ran 3 races at 25 in Delray and won them. And it just paved the way for me to then 2 years later, I started getting introduced to doing judicial races. And that was my real avenue.
Right, that's where I met you. I think that's where I met you the first time, like years ago.
Yeah, of doing judge races because they're so different from partisan races. And they're very rigid and we're not allowed to do the things that you can do in partisan. So I really respect that process of campaigning.
Is it a little bit harder?
It is harder because they're countywide races. They have the largest turnout because it's all parties that vote from all over the county.
Oh, wow.
And again, you have to stay neutral enough to be able to win them, but you have the partisan people that you also need to gravitate to.
Right.
So,
and there's very stringent rules with the Florida bar.
Yeah.
Like you can't, you can say like 2 things. Like, because I do judicial candidate forums and I really can't ask them a lot of questions. Like I ask them personal questions like, tell me something you don't know about yourself, or what is your biggest triumph? What is your biggest disappointment? And I have to tell you, on a couple of occasions, some of those things, I was aghast at some of the things that people. That's what I like because I think I'm the only one that asked that question in the judicial races.
Right. you cannot also go negative in a way that you can in other races. So in other races, you can pretty much say what you want about someone and deal with the consequences after, and there's not going to be any, right?
Yeah.
In a partisan
you can go
race.
as low as you want to go.
The lowest you can go is, well, I've had 5 jury trials. No, I'm looking at the record. You've only had 4. I mean, that's really what it is. Yeah.
Yes, that's really, and the number one question you get is, what are you registered? And they cannot answer that. They'll be removed from the race.
Yep.
Okay.
And so people just send you nasty emails and swear at you. And
oh no.
And I got that in my race too. If you don't want to tell me who you voted for.
That was for me.
If you don't want to tell me who you voted for, then you must be a Democrat or you must be a Republican just because I didn't disclose who I voted for in the November election.
People need to take a chill pill.
So today's word of the day is non-partisan. And I know Mayor Shelton prides herself on being a non-partisan.
Oh, no, Janine. Don't give him too much ammunition.
Ammunition. So let's shift gears a little bit because I also, over the years, have had the pleasure of handling some of your real estate closings. And not only are you one of my all-time favorite political figures, but you are probably my favorite real estate broker just because of how professional you are.
Thank you.
You have a great team, and certainly not every transaction goes smoothly. So could you just share 1 or 2 of your real estate war stories with us?
Oh, well, I do divorce and probate real estate. So that's really, I'm certified in both, and I really stay in that lane. I love to do happy real estate. So again, I'll take any referrals you have for the fun stuff. But we practice more of the War of the Roses. You're dealing with people that are stuck in homes. So I could go on and on, but about problems. But I have dealt with when they're separating, you always know who's ever left in the house is usually going to probably be the one that's a little more resistant. Over the last couple of years, I've been able to assess that very early on to get things into the orders that you get to make sure that we are able to show, because there's times where the people they don't want to leave. They're trashing the house. I had one 2 years ago where I saw the house on day 1 and the judge ordered it to be listed on day 30. The woman had vacated day 29. She's not answering her phone. She didn't leave a key. I'm having a hard time getting in. Finally, the ex-husband comes. I get in. Not only did she leave her dog behind, which that put me over the edge.
Oh, my Lord.
And I don't know how long the dog was in there, really. It was hot. It was July. I'm crying. That on top of it, she took everything out. She took the toilets. She took the vanity. She took the sink.
The copper wires,
Who
probably.
does that?
She removed everything. So the ex-husband had to come in and get everything up to par to sell. And I was very happy to see that the judge actually ordered her to pay that back at the closing.
Oh, that's great.
Good.
Okay.
And she was not signing offers. We'd have to get an offer. They'd expire in 24 hours. We kept losing deals. So again, the judge has to get involved again and send law enforcement to make her sign things. So as you do more of this, you know how to see what's coming ahead and get it more into the order or try to.
Right.
And I also don't go to, so say you two were married and you're getting a divorce. If you're acting up, I'm going to your lawyer, not his lawyer, because your lawyer's going to charge you.
Correct.
And you're going to stop acting up.
I'm one and done, so you don't have to worry about me going to my lawyer.
I think a lot of people would go
I'm
to...
I'm 0-1, so...
the other lawyer and say, hey, the other side's not doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to your lawyer, let your lawyer
Very
get
interesting.
on you.
I like that.
Bill you for the email that I sent them, bill you for the call, because you're acting up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Very interesting.
it shouldn't be on the other side.
Which makes sense. Hit people where it really hurts and it's their pocket, So, oh, wow. I didn't even think someone would think to take toilets. Like, what are you going to do with the toilets?
Anything. Those are very spiteful when they don't want to leave.
All I care about is the dog.
I'm saying,
I know. I was shocked when you mentioned that.
and then I do probate. So those are a lot easier because they're dead.
Yeah.
Sometimes they die in the unit.
But is it a lot easier? I mean, I know they're dead, but sometimes families are fighting.
Very little do we have that because a lot of the probate deals that I do, the heirs do not live here. So we go in and pack up the entire house. We give things to veterans, hospice. We try to really help the community out first. And then, of course, we call junk luggers, and it's really sad. So the one thing I try to tell people now is there's something called Swedish death cleaning. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No, what is that?
But It's something
Is that
every
non-partisan?
every year you start purging things because you are leaving your children or you're leaving people behind that you have to do all of this, and they are going to have to make tough decisions. I've thrown away, one house I literally couldn't give away the rosaries. There was probably 300 rosaries. I felt horrible. I had to throw away junk luggers. Here you go. So that
would freak me out.
There's a lot of things that freak me out. The one that we did in Pompano, we did one, and I go in there, and there's the squatters are in there, and you could tell they were doing some black magic stuff, some voodoo on the wall, and these crazy baby dolls. And,
no way.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, we find some weird stuff in homes.
Wow.
It was like a trap house for pilots.
Yeah.
It was.
What?
There's all these pilot uniforms and weird stuff.
Pilot uniforms?
Yeah, pilot IDs, weird stuff. And the weird babies up on the wall, nailed to the wall.
Oh, pilots scare me because I don't know.
Pilots and voodoo magic babies staring at that. That's some.
There was like the
candles.
The lights.
That's like something
there was some stuff.
Wow.
Oh my God. It sounds like something out of like Chucky.
Yeah.
Well, when
exactly.
Amanda was down there one day and she heard someone and she had to call the police because there was someone in the it was four floors.
Oh my
and
Lord.
So I said, get out of there, and they ran out the back way and we had to call the police. So
wow.
But
it sounds like Serpent in the Rainbow when he goes down to the islands and then he gets buried alive and all the voodoo stuff, and I that's crazy.
I used to invest in real estate with Darren, my old law partner, and we had this house in Delray, and it was sinking. It was built on the old garbage dump, and we didn't know that until that time. But when I found that out, I was able to negotiate like a discount, and we basically were doing a rehab. And we basically must have put 3 or 4 toilets in there because every time people would break in and steal the toilets in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's very common.
How do you resell a toilet?
There's a black market for toilets in the city of Delray,
They're like
Maybe they're filling them with kidneys.
They're like, they're like $80 at Home Depot.
Never know.
We would get we would get used toilets though, so it's only like 20.
On the black market?
No, there's a place. You go to like Pompano or you go to Hialeah, you could find whatever you need,
Listen,
down there.
You can find anything in Hialeah.
That is true.
I'll tell you that.
That is true.
Pompano's turning into Pampa, yes.
Really?
It is. Look at it down there.
Okay.
They're changing everything in the East.
Pampa,
Real
yes.
estate market's hot.
Yeah.
Pampa, yes. Okay, maybe I'll check out Pampa, yes, instead of Westlake.
So here's what I know about Boynton. Obviously, that's where we have our office. But there's 2 things that I know about Boynton that I like. That pirate festival you have is booming. And beautiful new city hall that you guys have. And they've remodeled the old school there. And they have, like, the one thing I would say that is something, and I don't know how much a priority is, but the city of Boynton has some amazing events that people don't know about. Like, I'm going to give you an example. So they had this amazing daddy-daughter dance that I took Hannah to. And I just kind of stumbled upon it because I was friendly with, like, the rec people. You also have a new, beautiful football field that we could right next. I think it's on the where the Hester Center is, and it's like because I'm on the Palm Beach County Sports Commission. That is like the bellwether.
Right.
We're talking about it beyond belief. So there's a lot of great things. Lamar Jackson's from Boynton. Isn't Travis Hunter from Boynton too?
Yes, I think we have an event coming up for him on the draft day.
So Boynton is kind of like I've lived in West Boynton, but I also lived in Boca, and for years Boynton has been ready to explode. And I know under your leadership, it's going to go to the moon.
Yeah, I think that it's hard to be a mayor and work a 9-to-5 job. So I'm lucky that I own the brokerage and I have great staff and we all work well together. Because I get up in the morning and I am the mayor from 6 a.m. until now, and then I jump onto things like this and then show and work, and then I'm the mayor again. So in order to make this work, I think that when we talked about priorities for Boynton, I think one of them is rebranding the city.
Yeah.
And that begins on a national and international and digital platform. And, we have you said the Pirate Fest, and our turnout of events has definitely increased so much, that's why we need a parking garage downtown.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I also think that sometimes when you Google Boynton, you see the bad things, right? And you are West Boynton, and we're Boynton Beach, and you're Boynton Beach. So if a shooting happens on military or something.
Right. People are like,
that.
"Are you okay?" That's
we get the blame for that,
of course.
And so sometimes I wish the news would report unincorporated Palm Beach County instead of everyone thinking that there's just so many shootings in the downtown. It has come such a long way, and for years we were not fully staffed on law enforcement, and now we are. We used to train police and then they'd leave. We weren't competitive in pay.
Interesting. Okay.
So now we are competitive in pay. Good. I think we're just a couple officers shy of being fully staffed.
Right. And they have a beautiful headquarters too, like right off of 95. So there's a lot of nice things which is an interesting topic for another day. But it's, I'm very, very excited and confident that Boynton will reach its potential under your leadership.
Well, we're going to do a silent disco. Are you going to come?
No, I didn't even know what that is.
I would like to go to
you wear the
headphones.
Oh my God! Of course, you need to keep me.
Oh, and we'll get little kid ones so that the kids can
and
come.
then also, I love your July 4th thing. Yeah. The July 4th is amazing too.
Yeah, it is, and I can walk to all these things, which is great. I can walk to the meetings. I live right across from City Hall.
Yeah,
even though
can you be my mayor?
She is our mayor. She's our friend and our mayor.
Well, I live in Broward.
I know.
So I know exactly. That's why I said,
she doesn't mess with Broward, though.
Can you be my mayor? But it's okay because I'm leaving.
Yeah,
sorry,
you need
Broward.
to come to Palm Beach County.
I am.
We're the cool kids.
City of Boynton Beach is
come to Boynton.
Right.
I've been looking. I like Boynton. But like you said, for a long time I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I started working there. Then I realized, wait a minute, this place is nice.
Yeah, we're the third largest city in Palm Beach County. So it's time we kind of take our place on the map. For some
you will get it.
Things.
So let's transition a little bit. We're gonna save the Ask Attorney Anything question to the end, but let's get a little personal, not too personal. So I've got a couple very interesting questions that I want to know the answer to. My first question. This is a very common question, and Sheriff Rick Bradshaw answered this question, so it's already been vetted.
But you don't have to answer.
You don't have
if you don't want to.
And all of us will answer too to make you feel comfortable because this is a sharing space here.
Okay, I can live with this.
Okay. What was your childhood crush?
Well, Corey Haim from the Lost Boys.
License to Drive.
I love the Lost Boys.
Right.
Lost Boys, yeah.
The two Coreys. May he rest in peace.
And the crazy thing is I don't like blondes in my adult life.
Yeah.
But he was
blonde.
He was
a good-looking blonde.
A kid, yeah.
I think he was my childhood crush too because he was pretty dreamy,
He probably liked what was the name with the Punky Brewster?
I did. Well, that was a little young for me, but I liked Christina Applegate in Married with Children. Married with Children. Kelly Bundy. Oh my God. Whew.
Yeah. What about Saved by the Bell? Kelly Kapowski?
I hated that show.
Oh, really?
It just bothered me.
My God, it was so
I didn't get
fun.
into Degrassi. I was a little
I never watched Degrassi. Oh, I did a little bit.
I got ruined with after school specials.
That's where Drake got his start.
Yeah. Drake was in the wheelchair in Degrassi.
Right.
I don't understand.
Wheels up, Degrassi.
How hardcore he is when I'm like, you were like the basketball player in the wheelchair. What's happening?
Wheels up, Degrassi. How about your childhood crush?
I don't know. Maybe Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Okay, he's pretty dreamy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was much younger though.
All right, brace yourself.
Mario?
No.
Blonde
that
kid.
was
that was the blonde kid. Was always with
Mario
a cell phone.
Yeah, he was with the phone that was like this big. Right.
I think he was my crush because he had a cell phone and I wanted one.
He had good hair too. I had a crush on his haircut. To be honest with you.
Well, my husband has the same haircut.
He does. That's where we go. Judge Janine, brace yourself. What was your childhood crush?
I really liked Luke Perry. God rest his soul.
I give it up there.
He's pretty hot too.
I
can't deny that one. Okay, next question, because I know you're a big music fan.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we all are in here.
We are. But my music stopped after like 1999.
Yeah, no. Steven thinks everything is Jodeci.
Right. No, because after 1999, but now like I know all the new stuff because of Ethan and Hannah. I know all like the especially the girl stuff.
I keep telling you, we got to get you up on.
I listen to all that. So basically, from 1999 to like 2020. Music didn't exist. So anything, there's like a desert between there.
Sad.
So two-part question. What was your favorite all-time concert? And then also, but you can answer this one first. What band, living or dead, that you have not seen that you would like to see?
It's going to be very hard for me to say my favorite concert
Okay.
because
You give us a couple.
I like a lot of different genres. So I am still a big EDM fan. So
Okay.
I love to go see a good
What's
DJ.
EDM for? Because it didn't exist for between 1999.
Electronic dance music.
Oh, like
Yeah,
like
I hope everyone saw my face when he said, "I don't know."
Like the video game, he's like.
No, better.
No,
That's
it's
better.
better.
Like drum and bass.
No,
I like
yeah.
different stuff.
Okay.
So I just think that's a fun place to get out
Got
and,
it.
and go in the air.
Is that
see 'em
like
in
the
beautiful
Ultra
places.
Music Fest?
Yeah, but I mean, it's better to go see someone at Red Rocks.
I can't unwatch what I drove through Miami seeing at the Ultra Music Fest.
Oh, so it wasn't like
Right.
that
Got it.
back in the day
Got it.
when my generations,
Got
started
it.
all that stuff.
Okay.
I am a big Dave Matthews, and notice I didn't say Dave Matthews Band.
Got it.
So I have seen Dave Matthews 106 times.
Wow.
I love Dave. I am, the band, he's replaced a lot of members.
Got
so to
it.
me, it's lost some of its luster.
Okay.
But I love Dave Matthews, right?
Okay.
So if I could sit down in this environment with Dave Matthews and have
Okay.
a one-on-one, you'd have to
Perfect.
call the paramedics.
All right, we'll try to
Okay.
negotiate that because we do have 100,000 downloads
Do you think
might-
Dave
he might-
Matthews is
he might-
listening?
with a lot of non-partisan listeners.
But some like I think one of the most beautiful performances I saw was Sarah Brightman.
Okay, I don't know who that
a
is
totally
because
different genre as well. She does opera and she does electronic, right?
Okay.
Mix
Interesting.
her in
Okay, a
that.
little mix.
wow.
So that's something that you feel the music.
Oh yeah, I feel it.
But I don't watch a lot of TV.
I'm very excited.
Okay,
This,
yeah, because you're a music
this silent
girl.
disco thing is getting me excited. I
It's
need to
so
learn
fun.
about that.
Yeah,
Burn calories,
Okay.
listen to good.
Yeah.
And it's
Perfect,
not
okay.
going to be
we have to.
wedding music.
I'm going to
Got
start
it.
a new slogan: "Make Steve cool again."
That's right.
Yes.
I'm far from it.
We got
I
to see
have-
him dance.
You know what? I do have cool friends though. You the three of you are my friends, and
We'll
you are
level
pretty
you
cool.
up.
Right, leveling me up. Okay, so how about one concert you haven't seen live or dead that you would
I would
like
have
to-
loved to see Elvis.
Oh, that's good.
My mom
me
was a
too.
big Elvis fan. She never got to see him. He died in 1977.
Right.
And she wanted to see him her whole life. So she never frowned upon me seeing Dave so many times, which a lot of people would say, why are you going to see Dave
Got
again?"
it.
Yeah.
She just loved it. And, my dog is named Presley because my mom loved
Perfect.
Elvis so
Oh, wow,
much.
I like
And when I
that.
lost her, I rescued Presley. And I thought, the best name I can give her to honor my mom
That's a
is
great
Presley.
honor. Yeah, for sure.
That is
Yeah.
great.
But I have Stevie Nicks. I've seen her 6
Oh,
times.
I love Stevie Nicks.
Stevie
I haven't
Nicks.
seen her. That's
Oh,
one of the
I've
ones
seen
I want to
Stevie
see.
6
Oh, I like her.
times. I have in my dining room, there's a big picture of Stevie. Sarah
wow.
Brightman's on the other side. I have Dave all over the house. My
Wow.
house is definitely, my office has
An homage to
lyrics,
music.
Right.
Yeah.
Anywhere from Dave to Elvis to The Cure to just, it's
Oh, wow.
all, it's
Oh my
all
God,
over
I
on
love
my
The
walls.
Cure too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen them multiple
Yeah.
times too. There's not many people that I haven't seen. I
Okay.
remember my first concert, and it would have been in Pittsburgh in the '80s, and it was the Beach Boys, probably like their 4th reunion.
Oh wow. Was John Stamos there?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
He was the drummer for the Beach Boys.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
So, but I think that live music
Because
is
that was
just
the
a way for
'80s.
me
I
to
didn't
go.
know music then. You
Yeah,
know, when I was
I was
chilling
a baby.
when I was chilling with the ladies.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted for a long time to see Madonna, but now I don't think I want to
No.
see
Okay.
her.
What's the best one you've ever been to?
I mean, I've seen so many concerts,
Right.
Latin artists, and like you, I like so many different genres. That's why I like music festivals because you get to see a little
Okay.
bit of everything. And like, I love going to Coachella.
Oh yeah.
For I think an entire summer, my friends and I followed Lana Del Rey around.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what was going
I don't know-
on. But
I
we
don't
were
know
just
who that
following
is.
her
Going through a
around.
thing.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
like a girl's
I don't
summer.
know who Lana Del Rey is, so that's how cool I
Summertime
am.
sadness.
Yes,
Right.
yes. We went to Philly. We went.
Oh, wow.
We
Jam,
went to Cali. Like we were just. I don't even know why because we were just following her around the
Yeah.
whole summer. So
Yeah, I wouldn't let Hannah do that, but
Yeah.
she will
I
anyway,
mean,
most likely.
Yeah, and it was fun and it was safe and it was like just the girls bonding.
Okay, cool.
So it's good.
I like that. Judge Janine.
I saw Janet Jackson last year, and that was on my bucket list because I adore her. But I did see Madonna in 2007 at Dolphin Stadium, and she was 2.5 to 3 hours late
Oh boy.
because she was dating A-Rod at the time.
Oh,
And I don't know if he flew in because
she was getting the
in my-
A-Rod.
Exactly. But my all-time iconic person that I've seen was Ray Charles.
Oh, I saw him too. Yes.
Yeah, and that was just it was very special. But that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, mine's not exciting, so I don't. You really want me to share it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw Guns N' Roses. That was pretty awesome.
I love Guns N' Roses. I saw them too.
The
Awesome.
first, no, but
I've
not like the old time. Like this is when they were hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Me too. Back in the day.
1992.
Yeah, no,
Boston
mine too.
Garden. Because you weren't even born then, probably. 1992, Boston Garden, St. Patrick's Day, and he
Okay.
showed up on time. That's what we were worried about. And then probably the band that I would love to have seen, but I just don't think they will tour ever again is Led Zeppelin. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're not going to tour again.
Because
I don't think
that's
so.
between.
You better bring in the wheelchair.
That's right. That's
You
what
know,
I'm saying.
funny story. I always wanted to see Michael Jackson when I was a kid, and of course, my parents were not having that.
Yeah.
You know, my parents were like, "You're not going to go to any music concert."
That's right.
So when I got older, I actually, bought tickets to when he was going to go back on tour,
And then he died.
and then he died.
Yeah.
And I stopped. I was living in New York at the time, so they announced on the radio that he died.
At the Garden, right? You were going to see him at the Garden?
Yeah, they announced on the radio, and I'm on the Williamsburg Bridge. I literally stopped the car.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I literally stopped all traffic, and I was just like, "What?" I'm calling my mom, and she's like, "What happened?" She thought something happened, and I'm like, "Michael Jackson died," and she's just like, "Okay," and I'm just like, "I have tickets."
Oh.
I'll be out of work a couple of days with Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so upset. And so I never got to see him, but I did see Janet. She was amazing and so much energy. I was tired of watching her. I was just like, I need a break.
Okay. Last silly question before we close with Ask Attorney Anything, and then we'll just pay a little homage to our mayor. So, what food do you love, and what food do you hate, or foods?
Well, you know food.
I do.
With me.
I do,
So
because I do have the privilege of being her lunch buddy on multiple occasions.
And what
so.
do you get out of that when we have lunch about my palate?
Well, you like Italian. You're big on Italian food.
True, but I'm also a big eater, right? In the middle of the day.
And we've had Asian. No, it's fine. But that's but you're in good shape because you have one meal a day.
Yeah, I have one meal a day, a very,
One meal
very
a
big
day?
usually. And then, if I have something at night, it's just so little. But I do not deprive myself from anything. So I will eat a massive lunch.
But she works out like a mad woman. Like I've seen her videos of working out.
Yeah, and I taught Pilates for years too. So I have a Pilates reformer in my house and things like that. Yeah, I just
You
stopped
taught
teaching 3 months ago.
Pilates?
I taught once a week.
Oh my God.
You are
I've
like
seen the
the-
videos. It's like amazing what she does.
Yeah, she's the coolest
And
mayor.
she's like super intense too. She's
Yeah.
like, come on. And then she's like on one hand, like upside down, like.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
roller
jealous.
skate too.
I really
so,
need to move.
Yeah, you got to come. We're gonna do some fun
Oh,
stuff.
have you ever been to the Astro Skate?
Astros.
It's on Jog.
Oh, you mean Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I go there myself.
Oh, you want to come with Hannah and I? Because she loves
please.
it.
I
Okay,
need a
okay.
skate friend.
Oh no, Hannah loves it. No, oh my God, that would be great.
When do you go? Like a Sunday afternoon?
I mean,
and
I'll go
stuff?
whenever. I'll coordinate with
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Skating?
And
Yeah.
I love it.
It's like kind of ghetto in there, which is cool.
It's cool. I sometimes
Okay.
wear my own music, my own headphones.
Yeah, okay.
Until they'll put on some old school 80s stuff.
No,
and
it's a lot of
that's cool.
hip hop.
I love
It's a lot of
love the
hip hop.
80s.
And then they have the Christian night, so I'm skipping that one. But
Okay.
how old is Hannah now?
How do you
9.
skate on
Okay.
Christian night?
So it's interesting when there's little kids, right? Because I think you become a better skater.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you gotta-
skating with little kids
yeah, 'cause-
because
yeah,
they're just
Yeah.
stopping
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you. And I took skating up again a couple years ago. I was a big roller skating as a kid,
Yeah.
and I thought, what's
Me
going to
too.
stop me from doing it in my 40s?
Yeah.
And it's just I would skate all the
I just
time.
went when I went to New York. I went ice skating at Rockefeller Center. That was like a bucket list moment, and I didn't break a hip or anything.
I'm afraid to ice skate.
I came
am very
unscathed.
happy.
Oh yeah, I didn't get hurt at all.
Okay.
I didn't fall either.
I was a big. I still rollerblade actually.
Yeah, I do quads like old school.
Okay.
the four wheels. Yeah,
Yeah, I
know
do
to
those.
that,
I do those too.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm going to dislocate my shoulder, so I didn't do that. But I mean, I think if I ice skated, I think I could probably roller skate. Roller skating's
Oh, yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think that
It just depends,
it's
'cause the
very
pavement-
thin for me on the ice and stuff.
I like the kangooing. Remember kangoo when you
that
jump?
jumping thing?
Yes.
Oh wow.
That was like a trend for a while, and I really got into
I think
it.
that was after 1999, so I don't know.
I'm like,
So you
what
don't
is
know.
that? What's
You checked
that?
out on that. You checked out on that.
Okay, so
So on the food thing, though, I I am a huge cook, so I grill everything. I smoke ribs. Like I love cooking. I wish I could eat everything that I cook, so I cook so much and give food away most of the time because cooking decompresses me.
Okay, good. I remember you're like, I'm stressed. I'm going to start cooking up a storm.
I will cook everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not too, I'll stop at a taco truck. Like I will eat anything in the middle of the day if I'm hungry.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't like liver and onions.
Okay, I don't like liver and onions too.
neither.
I was a cook at Friendly's, and like I never cooked before in my life, and they go to me and they because that qualified me to be a cook at Friendly's. 'Cause I never, and so they came up to me. They're like, "Are you a trained chef?" And I said, "No, I've never cooked before in my life." And so like the one thing that was this reason why that triggered that is because they had liver and onions on the menu, and somebody ordered it once, and they're like, "Oh, you have to go to the freezer and get it." And I literally looked at it and I threw up in the freezer, and then I just put it on the grill, and I was just cooking it up.
Yeah, my mother was a nurse, and she made me eat it growing up because I had low iron.
Yeah,
as a kid, so I had to eat it all the time.
I make a mean patty melt, though. I have to tell you, anybody wants a patty melt, I'm your man.
Okay.
So what I love, I mean, I'm corpulent at times, and also non-partisan
On your food.
on my food. And so I like Mexican, I like Italian, I like Asian. Asian's probably my favorite. And what I don't like tomatoes. Like I eat tomato sauce.
But they're so good for you.
No. I eat tomato sauce and I eat salsa and hot sauce, but I don't eat tomatoes.
I don't put a T on my BLT.
Yeah, I don't mess with tomatoes, and I have a major vendetta against mayonnaise.
Oh, I love mayonnaise.
Oh, I can't eat mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise.
I love mayonnaise, sour cream.
I am
allergic.
totally
Butter.
against mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I could bathe in mayonnaise.
Me too. I won't eat a sandwich if there's not mayonnaise.
Really?
I want extra mayonnaise.
Oh my God! All right, well I'll still be your lunch buddy, but just keep
Hold
that
that
mayonnaise on
Bring me
your
a lunch,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just slather all my food in mayonnaise. I'm just gonna be like.
because that's why you're a good friend. You do that kind
You
of
know what
stuff to
does
me.
bother
Here's
me in
some mayonnaise.
diners is when you ask for mayonnaise, they give you the mayonnaise that was on the other table, and it's like mayonnaise should be cold.
Okay,
yeah.
One other thing though. This is just a question about mayonnaise, which my best friend's father. So I guess there's Hellman's and there's Miracle Whip, and somebody
Miracle Whip's
what's
trash.
the difference?
No, but he's the opposite of that. He hates Hellman's. He's like, I have to have Miracle
Where's
Whip.
he from?
Syracuse.
Well, most people are Hellman's or Duke's.
Dukes is.
Dukes, yeah,
is good stuff now.
that Dukes sponsored like a bowl. It was basically a college football bowl. It was like a crappy one, and it basically was a 3-hour commercial for Dukes. There's like a guy that came out with like a big vat of Dukes. Like they poured Dukes over the team that won instead of Gatorade.
No.
Have you looked
Yeah.
at the price of mayonnaise in Publix? I don't.
I mean,
Publix
I don't.
often.
I
It's
don't.
$9.
I don't eat mayonnaise.
$9
So.
for
$9
mayonnaise?
for Hellman's.
All right. Well, you know where to borrow money from because I don't eat mayonnaise,
Yeah.
so I got
Well,
the
Walmart,
extra.
it's $4.99 for the same
Why is
one.
mayonnaise so expensive?
I mean, maybe it's the egg thing. I don't eat eggs either. I don't
Okay.
like eggs.
Okay.
I'll eat them in things, but not.
So what's up with Walmart? Walmart is basically like you can wear whatever you. It's like a come as you are, be as you are. Like people don't get dressed up to go to Walmart. They get dressed.
I mean, why would
absolutely
you
down.
get dressed up to go to Walmart?
And I mean,
You
why?
mean out of their pajamas.
Why do
Yeah.
people that are? And again, I'm not in the best shape in the world, but why, if you're not in the greatest shape, why do you wear the tightest things? At Walmart, I have to add at Walmart.
Maybe they want to be catcalled.
That's true. Okay, there you
Or
go.
they just, I don't know. There's no justification.
Okay, favorite food, least favorite food.
Favorite food is, I love Italian.
Okay.
Least favorite food, I won't eat liver or any tripe or any.
No.
I don't even know what that is, but so I must
I
not-
grew up
Stomach
in
is
like
under something.
a Latin household. So my parents didn't raise us, but every time I go to like visit a Latin family member, they're like, "Here, don't you want some tripe?" And I'm just like, "No, I don't want that."
Do you know what's disgusting? And Jewish people eat it. Like my dad would always eat it. It's called tongue. It's
gross.
It's like
Oh, yeah.
cow's tongue, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was
an ethnic thing.
until somebody's like, I looked at the deli. I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, my dad's like, yeah, I love that. I'm like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like
that-
Sebastian
they do that
Maniscalco
too.
Yeah.
says in his stand-up that
Yeah.
Italians should cater a Passover dinner.
Yes, that is true. I would have to agree with you. Judge Janine, favorite food and least favorite. I know you'll bathe in mayonnaise, so that I know. That's what I've learned.
So yeah, exactly. My favorite food is crab legs. Like
Oh, okay.
like
Okay.
I will go to Riggins Crab House.
Okay, yeah,
Do
and
it.
Okay.
and just
I love crab.
I'm
seafood.
very particular. Like I'll take the meat out of the crab. I get every ounce of crab meat out, and then I'll just ask for an extra large bowl of butter, and then I just marinate in the butter, and then I just literally eat it out of the butter sauce.
Okay.
That's
Well,
very
you may find this
specific.
interesting.
Very specific. And then my least favorite, I won't do liver or tripe or any organ meats. No organ meats.
No organs.
No.
I have something called, and you're going to laugh, and all my friends laugh, but I have something called misophonia. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
And it's real. And
Okay.
for years, I've had to tell people, no, this is real.
Okay.
And I noticed in my early 20s, so you notice I always have headphones on, right? Do you notice I was walking off my blue headphones?
Yeah.
I cannot stand to hear people eat.
Oh, okay.
And so I love crab, but if I were to go into Riggins and see everybody,
Okay, got it.
I'm off the
Okay,
deep end.
got it,
It's
okay.
gonna, it's
I
gonna
didn't
ruin
know
my
that
life.
was like that bothers me too, but I didn't know
It's
that was
a
a thing.
sensitivity to sound. So,
Okay.
and it's crazy because I can go to music festivals and I listen to loud music all the time.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I don't watch TV, the elevation of the commercials will drive me crazy.
Me too.
Okay.
And I
Put me over the edge.
I mute it.
Yes. It's little things like that, like people that click their pen. I am
Yeah.
sitting there wanting to just
Okay,
Yes.
got
rip
it.
that pen out of their face.
Yeah.
And it's out of their hands. It's a true thing, and people really have it. And now it's starting to become, I think, more well known. So you should Google it because you'll see.
Yeah.
I have like every single one of the symptoms, and the best thing you can do is just tune it out because it'll
didn't know
grate
that.
under
And
my
breathing.
skin. I can eat
People-
with you. I
Okay.
tested that the first time.
Okay.
So when I go to lunch with someone, I know right away if I can have lunch with them again.
Okay,
or
I'm
not.
going to be mindful though, because
Yeah.
sometimes
You
I don't.
never chomping.
I
I've
don't
never
chomp.
seen
Okay,
anything
good.
gross. I mean,
okay.
do I want to go and eat wings with people? Never.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Or ribs.
So
Yes.
the city of Boynton,
See,
there will
I
city of
didn't know
Boynton,
that
there
was
will
a
not
thing.
be any wing or rib fest in the
Yeah.
city of Boynton.
You know what
Beach.
else?
There will. I'll just wear my
Right.
headphones.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
I can watch it.
Okay,
I just can't,
you can't hear it.
it.
Okay, fair
Heavy
enough.
breathing. It
Oh,
starts like
I have a white noisemaker. If I ever do find love again,
Okay.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
have to have double the white noisemakers because
Okay.
the sound of breathing would probably put me over the edge at 2 a.m.
Okay.
But it doesn't bother me when my dogs snore. I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
it's the cutest
me
thing
neither.
Right,
ever.
right. That is
yeah,
cute. Dog
my dog
snoring is
doesn't-
cute.
yeah.
Okay, as we wrap up, we in addition to the word of the day, which we just installed, which is a non-partisan. I think I'm the only one that likes to use the word of the day, but that I could be wrong. I make you guys laugh. So we have a segment called Ask an Attorney Anything, and our good friend Maxwell in Boca asked the following question, and it's very tailor-made to this episode because we're all in real estate. What are the most common scenarios where buyers lose their deposit in a transaction? And I'm going to start. I'll start. I'll give an example. So probably the thing that I see the most is when there's an issue with financing. So oftentimes in the contract, if financing is being, there's a certain time frame. Usually it's anywhere from 15 to 45 days where a buyer has the time frame to get a commitment from their lender, meaning a written commitment. And oftentimes that's kind of a misnomer because and a commitment, just for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is a written document that says we will agree to lend you X number of dollars at X number of rate based on X number of terms. The problem is with the written commitment, even though they satisfy it, it's called a conditional commitment, which basically says, we will lend you this, but we have to review your credit. We have to review your employment history. We have to review, what the appraisal is. So even though you have that commitment, oftentimes it's not worth the paper it's on. And then closing comes and the lender, for whatever reason, and it becomes a finger pointing rate. No, it's the realtor's fault. No, it's the title company's fault. It's usually the title company's fault. That's what they always tell us. We always feel the blunt of it because we're the den of last resort. But oftentimes it's the mortgage company that's not being truthful. And you are a very experienced broker. I've been to the wars many times. So we all know the questions to ask the lender to get to that point. So that's what I experienced. Have there been any other scenarios?
There was one and I was representing the seller. And the buyers happened to be a couple that they were planning to get married. And everything was moving along great. And 2 days before closing, I don't know who did what, but they broke up.
Oh, wow.
And so they had to forfeit the deposit.
Wow.
We were through everything. My client had packed, relocated.
Oh my.
Was ready for the walkthrough. And to this day, I'll never know, but they called off the wedding and, me snooping along on social to find out what's going on. But not that I care, but they, so they lost.
Well, that cost you.
And the good thing, my seller got the deposit, but in our brokerage agreements and our contracts sometimes is
you get a portion of it.
50% of that because we've worked this whole time.
Right,
We've marketed, we've done everything you need to do. And so that's my experience on that end.
That's awful. Also, there's always that whole, we have our buyers who decide to go buy cars.
Oh, yeah.
And use their credit. And then when they rerun the credit, guess what? You don't qualify for the loan anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we see is somebody has a job when they sign the contract, and then they quit the job when they, before closing. Another scenario is similar to the cars. They go out and they furnish the entire house before closing, and then their credit score, especially if they're taking out new credit cards and things like that, it goes from like a 7 blah 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 to a 5 blah blah blah.
Correct.
But that's the advice that you do give someone that decided to use another realtor and not you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Say go out and get all that furniture.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go out and buy it all before you close, honey.
Yeah. A lot of times they just don't listen too. That's the other problem.
Yeah, we seem that's one of my pet peeves as we talked about.
But I think a lot of things come in real estate too is I don't know if I should say this, but the balls that some realtors have, or the investors that come in and waste your time and offering $100,000 and $150,000
under the
below,
listing price,
and they just keep offering and offering, and legally you have to present your offer to a client. And the commission thing is now very weird. That's been very disruptive a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To confirm if you're actually going to get paid or not.
I've experienced agents saying they're not going to show unless there's a commission that the seller's providing.
Yeah.
It is, but it's so common, and I know because I have a few properties, that the first thing they call, they ask, how much commission are you offering? If there's no commission, I'm taking my buyer somewhere else.
Well, anyone that's not paying any commission isn't servicing their seller.
Correct.
Right?
That's
because
true.
you need, and I do, everyone loves to get both sides of a deal, but I don't think in any way does this help first-time home buyers. Because if it's your listing and you're representing both parties and you want to get it sold, a first-time home buyer really needs somebody who's going to be the watchdog of that deal.
For sure.
During the inspections.
Right.
Keeping their timelines. There's a lot of anxiety that's involved there. So, that's that buyer's agreement's a mess.
Okay, well, this was so informative, so fun, so funny. Mayor Shelton, tell us how we can reach you both on the public service side as well as the real estate side.
You can reach me always at Core Realty Company as my cell phone, 561-929-0122. CoreRealtyCompany.com is my website. And everyone has my personal phone number for the mayor as well. I have a city phone, but if I told you I knew that phone number, I'd be lying.
Okay.
It's in the car.
Is there a mayor social media?
There is, yes, Craig set that up on Instagram and on social media.
Perfect.
What is it? It's just mayor. I don't even know what it is.
Can we add it? Can we add some shots with you before to that mayor site?
Yes, of course.
Okay, perfect.
And then my email at the city is sheltonr@bbfl.us. I respond to everyone. I respond to everyone's calls. I committed to that on the campaign trail, and that's something that will last during this whole, unless you're crazy and stalking me or doing something weird.
Okay.
Because I did get some weird emails.
That was me, actually. I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
I did get some weird emails and stuff during the campaign and things like that.
Well, you won't get that from us.
So I'm so proud of our non-partisan mayor of Boynton Beach.
I feel like every time you say that, you're expecting us to do a shot.
Right.
No,
Rebecca Shelton.
There's a little with the headphones that goes bling.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
So again, truly a pleasure, and I look forward to it, and I have the privilege of being a friend, and I'm so, again, I've told you this before, but I'm so proud of you in
Thank
so
you.
many ways, and
Well, you were one of the first people I called, and you didn't tell me I was crazy.
I said, where do I donate to the campaign,
And I knew the people not to tell. I knew who would be negative.
It's good.
And I just never, I didn't ask permission when I did it, which is a lot
And
of
you
people.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's,
Right. And
More
the
empowering.
other thing, which is so amazing, is she is the first female mayor of Boynton in over 30 years. And and quite a role model. I have a young daughter, and I know when I told her, she was so excited for you. And really, you're proof that a little girl from Akron, Ohio, Youngstown. Why do I think Akron? Youngstown, Ohio is the mayor of Boynton Beach, and the first time in 30 years. And I'm so proud of you. Thank you again for being a guest. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Attorneys Are Human Too. Remember, give us a 5-star review and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever you get your digital content.